Good evening, my fellow citizens.
Hey, welcome to Tuesdays Live. How's everybody doing out there? Mark here, and I'm glad to see you. I am the host, of course, of Tuesdays Live every Tuesday right here at tuesdayslive.com. I am in the South Florida studio where we actually had a cold front come through. It got down to about 72. I know it's freezing for us Floridians down here. I know you feel bad for us, but we survived. We really did. I actually did go out in shorts, though, today, and that was a mistake. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, we got a great show lined up for you tonight. We got the Bud Collins Trio, and yeah, we'll work on that name a little later. But in the meantime, let me remind all of you that we are an interactive show. What that means is pretty simple. We like to interact with you, the audience. The way to do so, get on Twitter. Give us a mention at AllIndie, ALLINDIE. You give us a mention on Twitter, we'll give you a shout out here on the air, and we'll even show your tweet at the bottom of the screen right there. You can also ask questions of our guest the same way by right through Twitter. Also, if you're watching us over on our YouTube page, you can chat with us right through the YouTube chat right beneath the video. You can also call in. That's our number right there, 347-985-0344. It only works in the U.S. Well, I mean, it'll work out of the U.S., but if you don't want to pay international charges, U.S. and Canada, again, that number, 347-985-0344. Give us a call. We'd love to hear from you, and so would our guests. Let me go ahead and introduce to you my partner in crime, and I've stopped making fun of his small town because I basically just ran out of things to say. So here he is, Mr. Rich Wildman. Hey, Rich.
Hey, Mark, how you doing, buddy? I hate to see a cold front go through Florida, but if there's any place it needs to go, it's Florida.
I have no idea what you just said, but okay. But by the way, where's your Bosco and Peck cup?
It's being cleaned.
Refurbished?
I have a special cleaner that comes in once a week and cleans it.
Just for that cup. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right. Busy, gearing up for spring at some point. And been doing a lot of yard work and stuff like that. Living on a lake, as I do here in Paris, everybody's going to Google Maps now, looking up Paris, France, looking for a lake. But no, not that Paris. Not the one in Texas either. But I live on a lake in Paris. And, you want everything to look nice because when spring and summer comes around, you have a lot of boaters and everybody's looking at everybody's yard. So, yeah, a lot of yard work.
Okay. So you're not going to tell anybody what state which your Paris is actually in?
Paris, Illinois. It's it's 9,000 people. It's not that small.
9,000 is pretty small. I met a couple.
I can name off a dozen towns that are smaller.
Yeah. Well, I can. I don't know the name of it, but I met a couple this past weekend that live in a small town in Northern California. They had just gotten off a cruise ship, and the population of their town is 3,500 people. Basically, they can fit they can fit the entire town on the cruise ship and still leave plenty of room for 1,500 other passengers.
I can fit the town I used to live in on the cruise ship and leave enough room for virtually everybody in their town.
Oh my God. That's amazing. I can't imagine living in such a small town. I think I'd be bored out of my mind.
About 700 people is the size of the town I used to live in.
That's why you're so antisocial.
I had more people in my college dorm.
In your dorm room. Yeah.
At one point, yeah.
Oh, well. Anyway, we got a good show lined, but actually, I think you have something you need to do first, don't you?
No, I have nothing I need to do other than rant and rave in joyous thunder about the guys and gals over at the Indie Music Bus, because you know what they do. I mean, everybody should know. If you don't know what the guys and gals at the Indie Music Bus do, you've tuned to the right station, the right channel. Indie Music Bus is all about promoting you as an indie artist and your music. What Walt and the crew do over there is help you get noticed, get eyes on your social network feeds, your website, and get your music promoted. How do they do that, you ask? Well, you got to go to indiemusicbus.com and sign up. And once you do, what they will do for you is untold. Well, until now. Here's what Walt sent us so we could tell you all about it. That's the Indie Music Bus. Any questions? I mean, they literally can do virtually anything and do virtually anything to help an indie artist out.
Walt's a great guy. If you don't know him personally, never chatted with him, make sure you do that because he's an awesome guy. And he'll support you for free. I think, did you mention that?
No, that's the great thing about Indie Music Bus is everything they do is at no cost. It's totally free.
Right. And with all that money they're making, they sponsored us.
Exactly. So, you know, they're not, I got to tell you though, Walt is actually a great guy. He bends over backwards for all the artists that work with him. He works with them. And, you know, you just can't go wrong. I mean, after all, it's free. So, you know, what do you got to lose?
That's right. All right. Enough about Walt. Now let's talk about our guests that are joining us tonight from Connecticut, and I'm going to introduce them. They are from the Bud Collins Trio. We have two gentlemen joining us. The first one is Kenny Foster. He plays crumhorn guitar and is in charge of all the drama in the band. And secondly, we got Mike Ryan. He is vocals, keyboards, horns, audio engineering, and arranging, like as in closets and stuff like that. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike and Kenny from the Bud Collins Trio. Hey, guys.
Hello. Greetings from the space station, the International Space Station.
It looks that way, I swear to God. Yes, folks, your eyes are not deceiving you. That is actually, it does look like an optical illusion. They are in a studio, and I guess the ceiling in the back there is kind of angled down. It looks really strange from this point of view, though. Guys, how are you guys doing?
Very good. Very good. Yeah, we appreciate you guys having us on. We're actually in the studio doing a little bit of recording or mixing or crumhorn and drama this evening as well.
And dog wrangling. So sorry
dog wrangling. Yep.
Yes,
we got dogs, we got kids, we got, you know, optical illusions. We're multi-faceted here.
Do you have kids in the studio there with you?
No, not right now, thankfully. I think
we say they're very quiet.
They're being force-fed.
We've left them to play with sharp objects.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So you're a rock band then? No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So first and foremost, Bud Collins Trio. I got to ask, who is the math wizard in the band? Who was it that took a 5-member band and called it a trio?
Who's responsible for this ridiculousness?
This happened before I was born, so that I am not culpable for this this aspect of the nomenclature, but because I joined a long time after it was the Bud Collins Trio, and so I don't know. And I was when I was in the band when I first joined the band in '93. The band had dropped the Trio, and it was just Bud Collins. And then the Trio got added back on, and no one's sure how or why. So we'd like to hear feedback from your listeners as to whether or not.
Is the Trio, is that annoying?
Should we just drop it again?
Is it clever, or is it annoying to have people think that they're clever by doing something annoying? I mean, that's basically
it's like
feedback.
And I should mention too that on one of your other bios that I looked at, there were actually 12 names. Now I don't know if that's because there were 12 band members all at once or they rotated through, but there were 12 names on the bio.
Yeah, rotated through.
Oddly, almost all 12 are still, we're basically in touch. Most of the guys have played on a thing or two or played with us live in the last few years. There's only one or two that, our original bass player is out in San Francisco right now, although I hear he might be moving back to East Coast. And, maybe one other person that we haven't played with very recently, but yeah, everybody's still pretty much around,
Yeah, you're never allowed to leave.
You're not, right. It's like the Hotel Connecticut.
That reminds me of an interview I recently saw with the Doobie Brothers. They had a similar concept where every band member that comes through the band stays a band member. They're always part of the family. Yeah,
exactly. And those guys aren't even brothers.
No, they're not. That's it. Now that's annoying. I know, right?
No, that's cute. I don't know. Somehow, they do it. It's cute. We do it. I don't know.
And there's another aspect I want to mention here, and that is the band members of the Bud Collins Trio, as I have listed here: Christopher Wineland, Mike Ryan, Dave Schumann, Eric Hager, Kenny Foster. Okay, no Bud Collins. So no Bud Collins. Yeah. You're not a trio.
We do have a relationship with him. I mean, we did. He passed away, Bud Collins. But we played at his induction into the Tennis Hall of Fame. His kids were fans of the band and got us to play the gig. And so he was sort of an honorary member, whether, how would you put that? We made him an honorary member without asking him.
Yeah, but he used to come see us play in Boston, too. He'd show up at, these Boston clubs with earplugs and hang out. He was so nice to us. We were the sorriest bunch of ruffians that you could possibly imagine, playing on the grass courts at the Tennis Hall of Fame. A very incongruous sort of gig for us, I guess. But Jimmy Connors was wandering around and Martina Navratilova.
Yeah.
And we were...
Wow. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
There was a tennis player
that mentioned. Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah, he was growing up. I mean,
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, growing up, he was like that. He was the big deal, for me too. During that era.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and there was a Sports Illustrated article that listed a trend in bands naming themselves after sports icons. We were actually listed alongside of a budding band called Yo La Tengo, which people probably don't realize. Yo La Tengo is what Spanish baseball players or baseball players who speak Spanish yell. It means, I got it. So when you're playing baseball and you have to wave the other guys off, you yell "Yo La Tengo." So somewhere in my basement is a Sports Illustrated issue that lists us and Yo La Tengo, and I'm trying to remember who else. But it's part of this new, at the time, new trend of bands naming themselves after sports icons and sports things.
Just
We were
to-
the
to
coolest
clarify-
of those.
Oh, of course, absolutely. Otherwise, you wouldn't be on the show.
Right.
So, yeah. Just to clarify to those of you out there, I'm sure you figured out by now. Bud Collins was a tennis player, but he was also the tennis commentator, like for Wimbledon. He actually played in Wimbledon too, right? I'm sure several times. And
He was a doubles champ. Yeah.
doubles champ. That's right. Yeah. So that's the Bud Collins, and that's who the band is named after. And 5 members in a trio. Gotcha. All right. Well, now that we got that straight.
Glad to help.
Yes. So all that time that it took us to get this straight, now we're going to go ahead and play your first song of the evening. And but before we do that, I would like for one of you to kind of give an idea of the audience out there who hasn't heard you before. What type of music are they about to listen to? What genre would you classify yourself as?
That's a tough call. We often announce at gigs that we play songs in the style of popular music. I'm not sure how helpful that is, but it's like we've come up with a few terms. Another one is like meta pop, just because we borrow so much stuff.
Yeah,
All right.
I mean, I've always thought of it as there's a lot of pop music influence, a lot of rock and roll influences, but it sort of offshoots from me. It offshoots from what like Elvis Costello was trying to do, right? He wrote pop songs, but he had a rock and roll base, but he could also dip his toe into country and R&B and he has a sound, but he wasn't really constrained by a specific genre of music, and it's kind of the similar thing with us, I think.
All right, cool. Well, the first song we're going to play tonight is called "Television Personalities," and what we like for the bands, our guests, to do is to tell us a little bit about the song, where it came from, how it came to be, what it's about, that sort of thing. So, one of you take that one away.
Well, it's actually there's a bit of veiled political and social commentary there. It's just kind of a psychedelic pop tune that is mostly just about, it was written not that long ago, maybe 6 months ago, and a lot of the same things were going on in the world of mass media then that are happening now. So we would like to let people draw their conclusions about it, based on the kind of things that we suggest in the lyrics. Want to think about, how we consume this stuff, because it's so readily available all the time. You were kind of swimming in it. So what's it really doing to us? I don't know. But that's what that song is about.
All right, cool. Well, let's let the audience take a listen. Ladies and gentlemen, it's called Television Personalities by the Bud Collins Trio, right here on Tuesdays Live. Take it, Rich.
Television gun. Can't stay awake, stayed up late, staring at the lights again. Watching everybody on the TV having fun.
Television personalities by the Bud Collins Trio right here on Tuesdays Live. And there it is. I'm sorry, what was her name again?
Kura. She's
wow.
She's 13 weeks. She's a Shiba Inu.
Oh, and she plays bass.
Yeah.
And the cutest thing. All right, we can talk about the dog the rest of the show.
Put her in the middle, right? Here.
There you go. She's got your eyes. Okay.
Every studio needs a dog.
I know, right?
Every studio. Yeah, it's actually very important.
Oh, that's so cute. All right, now I'm just like flabbergasted. I think I'm going to hand it over to Rich. Let him take it for a while so that I can think about how cute that puppy was.
Yeah, I get it, Mark. You know, you've already got a dog, Mark.
I do. And he would be extremely jealous if I brought in another one. You'd be
You're
like,
right.
What the hell? Yeah.
I know that. All right, now I do have a very serious question. Mark hinted at this at the beginning of the show when he asked you about, you know, how five make three, you know, in regards to trio. I just wonder, you know, when you're playing a gig, okay, bear with me here. All right, I went to school in a very small town. There were 27 people in my class, okay? Now, I didn't say 2,700, I said 27. And
that's small.
Yeah. So you played a gig. The facility manager comes up to pay you. Let's say it's $1,000, just off the top of my head. Who counts the money to make sure? Somebody can go ahead and raise their hand.
Why is Wineland always in charge of the money?
Yeah, it's the drummer. So
that's a good question.
There's this guy in the band who's the tallest.
He's tall.
And he plays the loudest instrument.
Okay.
And because of those two things, he ended up making a lot of the decisions. That's sort of where that's kind of how we got here.
Can you sense the bitterness?
Well, the reason I ask, and I'm going to say, you know, like Mark said, you got 5 guys in a band, $1,000, you know, getting paid out. You know, there's a proper division of cash here. All right, now we take that, and let's say we don't include anything in that division. We just divide it equally. So who gets $3 and who gets 12 and who gets 200? That's what I want to know.
You know, it was always pretty equal, I have to say, because and a lot of it was, you know, we were never making a huge amount of money, and most of the time we were, you know, the money would go back into like fixing the vans or replacing equipment or you know, putting something into the studio, because we usually had, or at least for a bunch of years, you know, we had a studio of our own, and especially when you're traveling, it wouldn't be uncommon for, I mean, you know, no one would really get anything, would they? I mean, you know.
No, we lived together in a house for a while.
Yeah.
And so the only, you could say that what we were getting was our rent subsidized by the band.
Yeah.
But that was as close as it got. It went to gas and chips and rent and
So
maybe a broken microphone.
Okay, well, I'm guessing you had more than one guy double check the divide to make sure it was equal, because whoever got the name and put the, you know, trio at the end of I can see why you would drop it, you know, but
well, we also have an unwarranted amount of trust, you know, between us. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it was usually Wineland handling the money, but we were okay with that. We believed him, you know, he was more trustworthy than the club owners, you know?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
I mean, to any of our friends who would be listening or watching this, I mean, and I love the guy, and this isn't meant to be an insult, but he's probably the worst choice. Yeah, to be the guy handling the money. He probably would tell you that right away. Actually,
he's the one who came up with
that's a very
trio.
Yeah,
yeah.
He's like,
and I mean, he would tell you this himself. This isn't. He's probably the most unlikely character to handle the money, and that's a very Bud Collins-esque thing. Like, if there's something that we can do that might help us, you know, send things off awry, we'll do it. It's kind of it's our MO.
Yeah, the most unlikely thing always like just sat just fine with us, you know.
Yeah.
No matter what it was.
I could a quick story that would sort of, for me, sums up like that part of our you know, the zeitgeist of always messing up.
Zeitgeist.
Yeah. We were trying to play this gig in Hartford for years. It was called it was like live. It was this live show in the summer. It was on the river in Hartford. It was back, you know, Hartford had a decent original music scene and a lot of live music, a lot of cover bands, but had a decent music scene in the 90s. And there was this one day in the summer that you know, the NBC 30 would be there, and they'd have all these groups live, and you know, they would televise it, and we always wanted to play it. And so one summer they finally let us play it, and we were playing, and a friend of mine from music school, his name is Dave Rosner, is extremely talented and eclectic guy. He decided to show up to the gig wearing only a Star Wars bed sheet, and he brought his trumpet, which he's a drummer, and he studied composition, but he had a trumpet. And so in the middle of one of our songs, when there was sort of an improvisation moment, he jumped on stage. He's got red hair, he's got red chest hair, red back hair, red beard, he's just red, and very compelling human being. And he jumped up on stage with his trumpet and the bedsheet, and that was the one moment that they cut to us. And the director in the truck, like any director would do, you know, because I work in television, and so I cannot blame this guy. The director was like, shoot the bedsheet guy, the guy with the trumpet.
We need
that. So, yeah, we need that. Zoom in on him. And so, you know, at a certain point, there was an image of my friend Dave playing trumpet over our music, wearing only a bedsheet, and the chyron that said Bud Collins Trio under it. And it's just it was very, you know, at the moment at the time we were wrapped up in it, and we were like, oh boy, that's, you know, but
it was kind of chironic.
Yeah.
And
it very much fit.
you've been asked back every year since, right?
I think that was the last year that event happened.
We rely on everyone forgetting who we are, and then we come back and they're like, "Wow, you know, sure, you know."
Yeah. We're actually at the point now where some people, just because they've remembered the name Bud Collins, I'll say, "Oh yeah, Bud Collins or Bud Collins Trio," and they'll go, "I think I've heard of you guys." I'll be like, "Oh yeah, you have.
You definitely have, yeah."
But I think it's just because of Bud's name, they haven't heard of us.
Well, they may have. They may be great fans and just, go back home after seeing you and then get the old 8 tracks or cassette tapes out.
Cassette tapes. Many of them still have cassette tapes. I have friends who still listen to their Bud Collins cassette tapes.
I just saw a review, like, it was weird. One just popped up because I get these Google alerts, right?
Yeah.
Which is a cool thing, by the way. You can put your name in there.
Right.
So you know if anybody's... But anyways, I saw a review of Shaky Town, which was like literally a cassette tape that we made, I think, in 1987.
It's really good.
Yeah. And somebody in like Finland had a copy. I was like, would you?
He's the only one who has a copy.
There's only like 10 copies in the world, but yeah, it's pretty funny. Yep.
We need to contact him.
That's great. That takes me back to the 80s, believe it or not. All right, so the band first started out, I guess, back in the 80s then, yeah?
Some say that it did.
What do you guys say?
I wasn't around.
It was. See, here's the thing. What seems to be interesting is because we kind of like have a lot of influences that go back. We sort of at a certain point, I felt like maybe we shouldn't say, because we put on if you go on the SoundCloud page. We were playing a little game and putting years, next to the demos that are up there, just to indicate like what time period they might have been, created in. So like, you'll see one that says 1973 and one that says 1975. And usually it's because they have some kind of connection to, some influential piece of music at that time. We are influenced by a lot of different things, but we always fail in recreating them. But anyways, that's the fun thing. But in reality, and this will be an exclusive, this will be exclusive breaking news. I believe it would be 86.
Yeah, I've always been told it was 86.
Right, I've been. Yeah.
Well, that's perfect. You guys started the Bud Collins Trio the year before the band I was in split up, so it's perfect.
All right.
Awesome.
I became a fan of the band when I moved up here to Connecticut from, I grew up outside of Philadelphia, and I had never met the guys, and I got given a copy of one of the cassettes called Watching Channel Zero, and then a CD that they had just put out called In the Land of No, and I had become a fan of the band, and I had not seen any live music. I was waiting to turn 21. And so the week I turned 21, I went out to a show and just got just blisteringly drunk and ended up at the end of the show like requesting old songs and like jumping off the stage. And I remember at one point like doing like forward rolls and just basically just being a complete moron. And
then Kenny goes, "Yeah, we got to have that guy in the band."
Yep,
that's exactly what happened.
Yeah,
that's perfect. Perfect.
And then we found out that he actually played, an instrument.
An instrument, thankfully. I've since quit that instrument.
It's the forward rolls that did it, man.
Yeah,
I remember doing a forward roll.
All right, so let me ask you a serious question then. And this is something I tend to ask everybody because I find it fascinating, at least for me, if nobody else. As a band, as an independent band who's been out there a number of years, recording technology has changed so much over those years. Back when I started out, we recorded 8-track, cassette, got into digital tape, and then, eventually everybody does everything on computers. So, throughout the longevity of the Bud Collins Trio, how has that recording process changed for you, and what's it like today?
That's a cool question. I love that. It's interesting.
It's changed a lot. And I actually would have to say not all for the better. I mean, I wasn't around for those early cassette records. And there's definitely those that what they lack in, you know, sound quality, they made up for like in spontaneity and you know, for me as a fan, because that period was just, I was just a fan of the group. You know, there was an energy in those. And there was a very difficult period where there was a transition from doing the analog multi-track recordings, I think, into the digital world. Digital audio has come a long way. The mid-90s in the world of digital audio was really kind of a wasteland unless you had a lot of money. And so the very early Pro Tools system that we had really did not sound very good. And some of the early ADAT machines did not sound very good. And there was a lot of things areas where things could go wrong. And we always tried to do it ourselves, and, you know, partially because of budget and also partially just because that was how we were. And we were also a bit stubborn. And so there's, for me, like the early stuff still, to me, sounds really good. And then there's a period where, you know, the band was still together all the time and playing every night. And the recording happened. And making records isn't easy. I mean, it's just never a smooth, unless you're Black Sabbath and you come in off of like a 2-year tour and, you know, you've been playing every single night and you walk into the studio and there's the, you know, a crew of people there to record you, and then you just blast through the songs you've been playing every night. And then somebody mixes it, you know, that's easy. But when you're like us and you're doing the producing yourselves and the mixing and the overdubbing, you know, it's never easy. And that period where, from, you know, like from In the Land of No and Conspiracy A Go-Go and these things in the mid-90s, those recordings actually suffered in a way that the early tape recordings didn't. The early tape recordings, they only had 8 tracks and they had to do a lot of bouncing down. But I kind of feel like in a way it forced, you know, things to get done in a certain way, and they had an energy to them. And now our recordings sound really, really good, but no one has heard them yet, because what you hear on Chris's, like what we played earlier, the Television Personalities is a demo that Chris did all himself, which sounds excellent. So now we have the ability to, all of us can do it, and what ends up happening is we're on the positive side. There's more and more and more material, but on the negative side, actually, pushing out the noise and all of our other things that we have to do in life, and actually focusing on finishing a project with all of us it's very difficult. And we're struggling.
Tell them what the exciting part of that is, though. I don't know. You don't want to talk about it because it hurts to talk about it, but we have this full-length LP that we've done, really, I should say, the right way. So it might surprise people to know that, a lot of the stuff that we put out the last couple of years, a lot of the tracks are really just demos. And we've been working on this record for about 5 years. Unfortunately. 5 years. Yeah, and we started out, we've been doing it the right way. We started out in a little cottage in the mountains of Woodstock, New York. We tracked most of the basic tracks.
We tracked about 60% of it. I was actually thinking the other day, it was about 60 to 70% of the basic tracks then. We've had 2 other basic tracking sessions since then. So yeah, we're doing a record that, the quote unquote right way, where we're spending a lot of time and effort and getting everyone involved and really spending a lot of paying a lot of attention to all the bits and pieces. And it's coming out really well. As it turns out, if you do one guitar overdub a month, your record takes 5 years. Yeah. Which it's all about, at that point, it's all about your attitude towards it. If you stress out about that and get upset, then, it might bother you. However, I was reading a great article from the the producer who did the guy from Bird and the Bee. Shoot, his name is escaping me now. Amazing producer. He
Cool stuff.
He's done Adele and so really in he's big time, and so all of his producing work has pushed out his personal project, which is Bird and the Bee, but they're doing another record, and he said in this interview, he said, it's just been great. We're just doing like one overdub session a month. So the record will take about 5 years. And it's just been lovely. Yeah. And I thought, wow, like that's
the point is I
didn't know that I was supposed to be proud of that.
We're actually like having a lot of fun. We're totally, feeling positive about it, and we're all in agreement on like kind of like what we want to do and what our process should be. And there's a huge, it's funny, after all this time, you would think maybe we would have clashes of motivation and so on, but we really don't. And we're pretty excited about this thing, and it'll be ready when it's ready.
And actually ready pretty soon, because we really have done a lot of work on it, and we're coming towards the end. At this point, we've written so much music since the start of this record that I'm now fascinated to know what people are going to think of it. Like, is it going to sound?
That's the thing, every artist is kind of, always chomping at the bit to find out what the fans think and everything. And I know that Mark and I are chomping at the bit and actually interested to see what everybody thinks about your next track that's coming up here as well.
Nice segue. I like that. That was really
nicely
good.
Done.
Nicely done. Yes. And we're running about 13 minutes behind schedule as far as the music goes, so we may have to do a back-to-back on the songs, but that's all right.
All right,
as long as we put music in, that's the best part. Looking for Happiness is the name of the next song, so tell us a little bit about this one.
Yeah, this is this was actually just written during a very unhappy time, and I was asking myself, we were asking, different questions like, what would it take to be happier? Should I just, go to the doctor and get some, meds? Should I, get some money? Would it be great if we were famous? What kinds of things, and I guess probably a lot of artists have asked that question, especially when, you're struggling for attention and so on. And, so it's just kind of about that. Probably something that every artist can appreciate, I would imagine. Every creative person.
All right. Then let's go ahead and let the audience take a listen. It's called Looking for Happiness by Collins Trio right here on Tuesdays Live.
Yeah.
it, or I'll wait until after the show to ask this, because we're coming back now.
Looking for Happiness by the Bud Collins Trio right here on Tuesdays Live. And we're here with, okay, if you're really good at math, put your fingers over your ears. We're here with 2/3 of the Bud Collins Trio.
Yeah, let that sink in.
Or
Yeah.
or 1/6.
Break out your calculators.
Yes. Unfortunately, we gotta keep moving on. So we're gonna go right into the next song, which is a sci-fi song. Apparently, it's called Moonbase 9. So tell us a little bit about this one.
Yeah, this ended up kind of being like an almost like a Major Tom kind of thing, but it was basically, it was the whole thought of it was like things are just so incredibly frustrating, and just the madness is just so intense here on the planet Earth. You just have to get out of here before the whole place is just, the notion is that, some alien race or a god will just come down and split us in half for being incredibly stupid. And so we want to get out of there. And then eventually you end up, kind of on on this moon base that's falling into a black hole. And it's actually kind of terrifying and sad. I don't know why I revealed that.
Okay. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the name of the song is Moonbase 9 by the Bud Collins Trio right here on Tuesdays Live. Take it, Rich. Moonbase 9 by the Bud Collins Trio right here on Tuesdays Live. Real quick, I just want to change subject real quick just a second. I just saw this alert come on my phone. According to a Bush family spokesperson, former First Lady Barbara Bush has passed away at age 92. So obviously our thoughts, prayers, and condolences are with the Bush family. And she was a classy lady. And I'm sure she will be missed. So I just wanted to get that in there before we moved on. All right. How do you come out of that and then go back into an interview? Unbelievable.
Casey Kasem would know.
Yeah. Casey, oh man, my idol. I know, right? Oh man, what a great deal he was. He was awesome.
He could come out of those death dedications and go right into an upbeat thing, you know?
I know, right? I got to learn how to do that.
Keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars.
That's right.
That was really good.
That was good.
We got time for, I guess, one more quick question in here. And Rich, do you want to ask a question, or should I?
Yeah, I do. I do. The question I have is, where can everybody out in the audience find out more about the band, and if they're so inclined, buy your music and or listen to it, all of the above? Where can they go to do that?
The best place is really Bandcamp, and I say that just because, I mean, we have a lot of demos and stuff up right now, and again, you know, we have something really, I think, that we think is very special and probably a few cuts above what's even out there now. I mean, the material's good, you know, and we're glad. I mean, we do have a lot of listeners, and we're very thankful for that. But anyways, the reason Bandcamp is I mentioned that is that there's a lot of hubbub around in the independent music community about Spotify, and you know, of course, you kind of, you know, people feel like, you know, you absolutely have to be there, and we are. But Bandcamp is an outlet that pays the musicians a little bit better. So I guess I would just suggest that. But there's plenty of listening and tracks all over. Just Google our name, and you'll find more stuff than you probably than humans should be allowed, as David Letterman used to say.
And soon, the plan is to consolidate things. We'll have BudCollinsTrio.com up, and you know, the hope is that someday we can have. I mean, it'll be huge because there's been a lot of music since 1986.
Yeah, hundreds and hundreds of songs, literally.
The dream is that we somehow have it all archived, where you can click for, even just for, you know, if you're just curious, you know, what the band sounded like in 86 or 93 or 2007.
Some live stuff.
Yeah,
and that'll be up soon.
Yeah. All right, excellent. Looking forward to that then. And they can always hit you up on Twitter, and you can tell them where to go or where to go to get your music, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a quick suggestion, until you have your full website up, you know, you can always have BudCollinsTrio.com redirect to your Bandcamp page in the meantime.
Yeah.
And then you can tell them to go BudCollinsTrio.com, and it'll take them right there. You should do that.
If only there were like an IT guy around. We'll have to find one. Yeah.
I'm a full-time recording mix engineer, and our record's taken 5 years. And he's like head of IT or not head of IT, but yeah, we've got like a full-time cyber security expert right here, and we can't have our. This is what I'm talking about. This is very Bud Collins. Yeah. This right here is the essence of.
Yep.
It's the essence of every '80s born band.
It's loathsome. It's loathsome and slothful, and at the same time somewhat endearing.
Yeah.
Keep believing it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, look, guys, we unfortunately have to wrap things up tonight. We still have to fit in our song from next week's guest. I want to take this opportunity to thank you guys for taking your time out tonight to join us on the air. It was certainly a lot of fun. You guys are both great personalities, and we love the music. We certainly hope that you guys are going to come back when your new album is ready to drop.
Yeah, we definitely will.
Yeah.
And thanks again to you guys for supporting the independent community. Big thing, big deal.
Absolutely.
Our pleasure.
Happy to do it.
Cool. Ladies and gentlemen, next week we have a guest coming on, and as always, I mean, as if call me Captain Obvious, but yeah, you're gonna see the guest's name when the song comes up, and you'll see how I'm having a difficult time trying to figure out how to pronounce the name. But I think I know. I think it's pronounced Angel Face. You'll see what I mean when it comes up. So next week we have Angel Face coming on the show, same time, same place. I'm going to close out with her song "It's Okay." I think it's
I'm wondering why you just didn't pronounce it like I pronounce it.
Which is
Angel Face.
Okay.
Isn't that's the way it's written? AYNJEWL F
right
something CCC.
AFAYCC. Fake. Angel.
See, I don't feel so bad with the whole trio thing. I feel better now.
Right?
Yeah.
The four of us make a good team here, I think.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Before
What's the name of the song?
It's called "It's Okay." But before we hand that off, I just want to give a big shout out to Carol, who I believe was tuned in tonight listening. She couldn't tweet. She's not feeling well. I believe she's got the flu. So, Carol, I hope you're feeling better real soon.
You know how that virus can get over the interwebs so easily. I mean, everybody's afraid of those viruses spreading like that. So, Carol, stay away from the keyboard.
Yeah, she didn't want to get us sick, so she didn't tweet to us.
I appreciate that, too.
So, feel better, Carol. All right, folks. Rich?
Yes, Mark?
Go ahead.
All right.
Say you're gonna.
Good night, Carol.
Good night, Carol. We'll see you next week, same time, same place. Angel Face, I think, with the song "It's Okay" right here on Tuesdays Live. We'll see you next week. I apologize for the dog barking. Have a good one.
Buy into the matches, conceit spreading like you're catching. It just has to happen. My thoughts make the reaction. See how fast they patching. See something productive, you grab it. Cut out the bad things, make it deliberate by design. Everything is notion, so you can choose what you put in motion. Want some new shoes? Mix up a potion. Make sure you lose mental commotion. Don't be fooled when fear pokes in. You gotta use your own coping. You're the muse to let hope in. Hold it, infuse some new ropes and modem. I'm talking hope to believe, cause it's true. Let it soak in. Get introduced to the new, make it potent. Don't let it slip, fine tune, stay in focus. Pictureize your rooms into it, you got the whole thing. You the master in the puppet, controlling all limbs. Hypnotize, create your own hymns. It's your life through your eyes. I tell you one thing, my friend, don't let it slip. It's okay, it's alright. I'm making it with no fight. I'm taking it with all might. I'm playing this all night. It's okay, it's alright. I'm making it with no fight. I'm taking it with all might. I'm playing this all night. Yeah, become the master of your mind is the true mastermind. Imagination divine, magic bonafide. Visualize till it's real inside. Watch the skipping stone glide till it dips to hide. Hold your vision strong through the bangs and shadows. It's like you're pitching long. Pick up your cane and fragments. Piece your picture how you had it. Make it fame. The madness your first thought when it came is the frame to capture capture. Intuition's the flame, intention comes after. Your mind plays the games, hold the reins and plaster. Don't stay in one place, it's a waste. Move faster. There is a right chase within a pace and pattern. It's all behind the face in the state. Aside from chatter, keep the fear away. With grace comes true laughter. Oh, if you didn't know, now you know, sister. It's okay, it's alright. I'm making it with no fight. I'm taking it with all night. I'm playing this all night. It's okay, it's alright. I'm making it with no fight. I'm taking it with all night. I'm playing this all night. Do you hear what I say? Everything is okay. Do you hear what I say? Everything is okay. Do you hear what I say? Everything is okay. Do you hear what I say? Everything is okay. It's okay, it's alright. I'm making it with no fight. I'm taking it with all night. I'm playing this all night. It's okay, it's alright. I'm making it with no fight. I'm taking it with all night. I'm playing this all night.
Good evening, my fellow citizens.